Hey guys, welcome to my Getting Back into Sprint Training series. Starting off Monday in the weight room, doing my bar warm up complex, doing shrugs, upright row, and bent over rows, and then following up with some squats, just getting nice and warmed up before I really get going. Also, I just wanted to apologize for the vertical video format. For my next video, I'll do it in horizontal, and every video in the future doing that. And then also I'll try to make any improvements that you guys suggest going forward, trying to make this series as best as I possibly can. So I appreciate any input. I'll have the workout on the side of the video just so you guys can follow along and see how I set it up today and how I'll set things up in the future. Continuing with my warm-up, I do one set of 3 reps at 135. So my reason for doing this series is that I'm very passionate about sprinting and I want to get back in shape to sprint. Primarily because there's a coach's 4x1 in April that I'm going to be participating in. So I want to be in shape for that. But also just generally, I really enjoy sprinting. My first set at 225 didn't feel very smooth, and in the video playback, I looked pretty labored and my form was off, so I decided to drop to 205 going forward just to make things more smooth. In this second set, the first one at 205, I get 5 reps done. I feel like it goes pretty smoothly. I could have had a little bit better technique, maybe gotten my butt down a little bit lower. But other than that, I feel like things were pretty good. For my next set at 205, I attempt 4 reps, but I only get 3 fully. Last week, I was doing cleans at this same weight, and it felt pretty easy, so it was a bit of a challenge trying to do this today and it not feel as smooth, but just focusing on good technique on the reps I did do. And then for this last set of clean, I was just focusing on getting 3 clean reps again. I thought about going for a 4th rep again, but ultimately decided that if I couldn't do it in the last set, then I better not push it on this one. Getting into my squats, the first set wasn't necessarily a warm-up set, but was just used as a feeler to see how difficult 225 was, and then from there I decided if I wanted to go up in weight. Since last week I was going 3 reps at 255, I wanted to be close around there, but shooting for 5 reps again, so 225 was a good way to see how difficult those 5 reps were. I decided to go up to 245, considering 225 for 5 didn't feel necessarily that hard. Although 245 by the last set was pretty challenging, so it was a good session of squats. So most of my training is going to be geared towards 60 and 100 meters. And I'm going to mainly be doing that by focusing on squats, cleans in the weight room, as well as adding in explosive, speed, and power movements over time. A lot of my training is going to be focused on acceleration as well as top end speed. I will add in some speed endurance and starting off with an aerobic base. I especially want to start off with the aerobic base because I'm still kind of rehabbing my hip and back after some injuries this last year. So I definitely want to ease into my training and make sure that everything's going good with those before I really get going on any insanely fast movements. Going into my last set of squats, the last 2 reps are pretty challenging, and like I said before, I'm pretty satisfied with the squat session I had today and just going to focus on slowly increasing my squat. And as time goes on, I'm going to progress my squat from more of a full squat to a half squat to a quarter squat, just going in line with more speed focused movements and less range of motion. Gearing a lot of my exercises in the weight room to speed and especially acceleration. Going into some upper body movements, I start off with the high row machine, supersetted with some push-ups. Most of my lifting sessions will be full body, just so I can keep a nice, well-balanced training, but also be able to focus on my lower body movements a lot more consistently. So I'm not really in frame on any of these push-up videos, and this video is kind of cursed, but I decided I'd leave it in just so you guys could kind of enjoy it, but I think I got about 20 reps right here. Still not perfectly in frame for the push-ups, but you kind of get a better idea of what's going on. It doesn't look quite as questionable. I was sitting waiting for a minute, trying to talk myself into getting going again, but this last set ended up being pretty good. I only get about 9 push-ups here before I fail. I was pretty tired from the other ones. For my last lift, I decided to do hamstring curls. I have to adjust the machine really quick. But I decided that next time I lift, I was going to do some RDLs before I left the squat rack. But yeah, the hamstring curls went pretty well today. Second set, I go up by 30 pounds up to 150. Here on this last set, I was really starting to feel it, getting a pretty deep burn, a little bit of that lactic acid buildup. Getting into my ab training right now, I'm doing a challenge of 365 days of sit-ups. Today was day 12, so I did 12 reps. In the future, I will do more ab movements, but today I just decided to keep it pretty basic since I was mainly focusing on the challenge. As I mentioned before, a couple months ago, I hurt my back, so I'm doing some of my rehab now, kind of as cool down. Starting off my back rehab with my side-lying spine mobility, trying to keep my hip stacked the entire time, reaching that opposite shoulder to the ground as far as I possibly can. Usually as I go along, I get a little bit more range of motion and get stretched out a little bit more. My next two exercises being the downward dog, holding in that stretched position for 5 seconds and doing this for 10 reps. And then going right into my cat cows, trying to go nice and smooth and slowly in between both of those exercises, rounding out the back and then arching the back. Going into the foam roller, I just go up and down my back a couple of times, warming everything up and then finding any knots that need working on. Starting from my lower back and progressively going up, I'm just doing a couple of crunches in each spot, trying to get that muscle to loosen up. Here for my rehab, I rotate the foam roller 90 degrees and then I'm just kind of gliding over top of it back and forth just to open up my back. And then here I go to the next one where I'm just opening up my arms, going back and forth. This one really digs into my back nice and deeply, opens up those muscles, and it feels pretty good. Lastly, going into my recovery, putting on the compression boots, increasing blood flow, and trying to prevent any soreness or as much soreness as possible going into the next day or next training session. And I quickly realized that this chair doesn't go back, so I end up having to move chairs. But that wasn't too big of a deal. But you guys get the idea. I really appreciate y'all tuning in and watching this. And in the future, I'll have a more in depth breakdown of what my training looks like and what I'm going to do going forward.